Okay. Take two, we're back. My, my PC decided to crash, but I hadn't done that much work anyway, so it's fine. I'm gonna read it real quick, and we're gonna go back to script. So if you have a pendulum master card with the same level as card in your other pendulum zone, destroy the card in the other pendulum zone, and if you do, spell summon this card, hard once per turn. And if another monster spell summon your field while you control this monster, you can spell summon one monster from your hand with the same level as this card, hard once per turn. So we got this from a Metamorphose monster, pretty much. Added the special summon category, and then I was working on this. So C is this card, and then TC is, so get field card takes the card from in the pendulum zone from player TP with this sequence. So the pendulum zones are either sequence 0 or sequence 1. Now we don't know what sequence this card is going to be. However, if we do 1 minus the sequence of this card, we're going to get the card from the pendulum zone, from the other pendulum zone basically, if it exists. And then we're gonna check here if it exists. And then we also need to check that we have room and that this card can be special summoned. So, Monster Reborn, I guess. We're going to copy this part. We're also going to copy this part over here. Okay, we don't need this here. Category destroy going to be TC, and then we need the operation info for the special summon as well. And this is going to be C, which is EG handler, which is this card itself. Okay, I think that's fine. And now here, some spaces. Okay, first we need the tanky line, as I like to call it, this one. So if this card gets MSD'd or something in response to the effect, then it's gonna fizzle a bit, pretty much. This is what this check does. Let's check for zones as well at the same time. So if this is not related to the effect, or if you have no zones, then just stop. Actually, we don't need this because we don't select anything. So now we're going to do the same thing here. Actually, we do this here, and then add this check here. So if TC, the other card in the pendulum zone, doesn't exist, the effect also does not do anything. Okay, and then we need to actually destroy. And if we do special summon, so where is it destroy? This part. So if destroy TC, yes, then we special summon. So let's go back to Monster Reborn to copy this line real quick. Don't need all this. And then this is going to be C. So I think that should be okay. We don't need this filter. Special summon. Phantom summon. Okay. Now for the monster effect. I think this effect is okay. I can think of an ignition. Destroy. Yeah, I think it's fine. We'll test it in a minute. So for the monster effect, if another monster spell summoned you failed, blah blah blah. This should be another monster is special summoned. Should be plenty of, well, not plenty maybe, but there should be some cards. It's just a topologics, understand? Let me just copy this and we'll look at it more in depth. E2. Let me put the description here as well. This only special summons. It's an optional effect. Special success, master zone. They're going to be SP on SPTG and SPOP. Okay, so where's the condition? That's the main part we need to look at. If you contains guidance and false, okay. And then it checks that the monsters, one of the monsters that was summoned was linked to something. So, I mean, that's topologic. Yes, okay. Thankfully, we don't need to do that. Okay, so let me copy this. Put it down here. So if EG, which is the event group, so basically, since the event here is special summon success, the event group are all the monsters that were special summoned in this, for this event, in this timing. So if the event group contains this card itself, then the event cannot be used, because it's not another monster. While you control this monster, basically, is for that. Special one monster from your hand on the same level as this card. So, do we need all this? I don't think so. So, we just do this, I guess. Return true. Okay. And then target. We're going to do the check for the levels. Now I just realized I forgot to check the level for this part. So TC, and we have room, and this can be spell summoned. And okay, so how does this fill spell do it? We need to use original level, or can we just use level? Use original level, which makes sense. Okay. Seek its original level is the same as DC's original level. Same level, you have a pendulum master card with the same level as this card and you are the pendulum, so yeah, okay, so that should be fine now. Let's go back down here. We don't need these. for this. Okay, so now here we're going to check that you have something to summon in your hand. An appropriate monster, pretty much. Okay, so it's going to be, again, we need to check the zones actually, so we do need this part. Not this one. This one. Boom. And you is existing matching card. SP filter, TP, location, hunt, 0, 1. Then we're going to pass ETP and the level of this card. And then SP filter is going to do the checks. ETP level. So it needs to be, let's face up, it needs to be the same level, right? Plus one monster from your hand with the same level as this card. It needs to be the same level and it needs to be able to be special summoned. Okay. Question if a special summon. Roll the hand. Okay. And then in the operation, let me check. We need again this. This part about TC, but if this card is not related to the effect or you have no room, then the effect ends. Let me change this to C because it can be used a couple times. Local C. Okay. Oops. And now we need to. Actually, we don't need this, what am I saying? This is a monster effect, so we don't need this. Okay. Now we need to make the selection. Let's go back to monster pawn. So I can copy the hint real quick. And this part. Okay. Only this is going to be select matching card because this doesn't target or anything. This is going to be SP filter, and this is going to be location hand, and that's going to 0, and then we need to pass the level to the function again. Okay, and then the special summon. If we made a selection, then special summon it. Now I need to name these functions. Okay, SP. Right, so if another monster is special summoned to your field, okay, I need to add that check. So it needs to be on your field. It exists. Is controller 1 let me check the parameters for this again. Group function count, function count, okay. This is gonna be C. Let me go C. Okay. The next person under your field while you control this monster. You can special summon a monster from your hand with the same level as this card. So you have room, and you have something in your hand that has the same level that can be special summoned. Then you have room and pick something special summon. Okay, and then the special summon. Okay, so special summon from the hand. Okay. So let's test it now. Okay, so we need a level 3 pendulum. I think Majespecter should have one, right? People were talking about, yep. We were talking about Majespecters. It's level 4, so we can test that it doesn't work with this one. And then I can use Jester Confit as a free special summon to get a monster effect. And then we need another level 3. Durgate, whatever. Bunch of deck. Okay. So start with the pendulum effect. I should be able to, but I cannot. So something's wrong. Probably this. Let me check this function real quick. Yeah, returns a card. Okay, let me debug. Does it actually? I haven't used that function before, so let's see. Okay, it says nil for some reason. Let me change this to 0 because I know it's gonna be in sequence 0 is this one, 1 is this one. So let's see. Okay, so that works. Did I fuck up this? What? Doesn't make sense though. If I pull 1, it's gonna be the other sequence, right? Like, I should say, yeah. What's the issue here? Get sequence. Like it should be. It should be 1. Okay, it's 4. What? Okay, I guess it. Huh. So if you put P zone here, it doesn't actually. I thought if you put P zone, you could use sequence 0 and 1, but I guess you count it as a sequence 4 of the spell trap zones. Okay, so if we do this, then it should work. Yep, okay. Oh, yeah, but I forgot to. I need to change it down here too. There we go. So activate, destroy, special summon. Okay, nice. So now if I special summon this, I should be able to. Oh, or not. Line 49, he said. The parameters are needed. Oh, I forgot to Right, I need to pass TP to this. Right. Let's try this too. Now this should not allow me. Okay, good. I'll try on the other zone just to be safe, but it should be fine. Okay, it's not fine. But why though? Isn't it? It's level 3, right? Yeah. Okay, so what's the problem? Shouldn't this be? Shouldn't this be 0? If it's on the left zone, I mean, it worked in reverse, so why not? Why is it not? Oh wait, that's the wrong function. I want it over here. Okay, it's 0. And DC sequence should be 4, so what's the problem? Right. Okay, this is a little confusing. Maybe I need to use the absolute math thing. Let's see. Okay, that's weird. Let me try that. Math. I think that's the function. So here that works. Let's try this. Okay. So the opposite zones. It says DC is nil for some freaking reason. Why doesn't this work that way? That makes no sense. TPP zone. Okay, let me try something else. Forget about the sequences. Let's do get build group. Player so TP location P zone 0. So now DC should be this. Actually, this is, I don't remember if this works or not. We'll have to see, I guess. Debug. Let's see. Get code. So you should print this if it's correct. Okay. And then the other zone. guess that works. So, so forget about this part. Now, if there's no other pendulum scales, it's gonna error out. Yeah. Line 37 said. Wait. I didn't say it. Yeah, okay. Like, okay, so the get first doesn't actually error. That's nice to know. So this should be a good enough check then. I just need to do the same thing here. Okay, no errors or anything. Okay, so this should be fine now. Let me try the MST. Do these. So I want to try changing MST to the effects and see that it actually works properly. Okay, and then MST the other one. Okay. Looks good. The second effect worked fine as well. So you want to both this one's trigger. Does this need a flag or anything? Yeah, it needs the delay flag, so it doesn't miss timing. Delay. Set property, effect flag delay. Another monster, blah blah, so shouldn't be used in the down step. Doesn't target here. Okay, I think this is fine now. Yeah, okay, so I think this one's fine. So let's proceed to this one, which is the more annoying one. Because of the weird zone stuff. Okay, so Aeropixie level 1, Wind Fairy Tuner. Must put a quick effect, cycle 1, opponent's face-up monster in the scouts column. Move this card you control to another of your main master zones. And if you do, move the opponent's monster to their main master zone in the scouts column. Then place one counter on that opponent's monster. Monsters lose 200 attack and defense for its burning counter on them. Okay, so the whole thing is a first effect here, of course. Okay, so let's start with the basics. It's a quick effect. So let's do the targets. So we use Masterpiece. The destroy effect. I don't need this. Okay. Targets, fleet chain, up zone. I don't think there's a category for this. Indigo. Yep, this guy, the magnet that moves top. Yeah, there's no category for this kind of effect. Okay, so we don't need a cost or a condition. I don't think so. I'm just gonna copy these. And we're gonna modify them. Okay, so it needs to be a face-up monster in the scouts column, what you're targeting. So it needs to be an opponent's. And we're going to have a filter. And this needs to be the opponent side. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to check for the zones. So both players need to have a free main master zone, otherwise this effect doesn't work by default. So we're just going to throw these two zone checks right off the bat. And then we're going to check that there's a proper monster pretty much. Okay. And then the filter. So we're going to do this. So first of all, it needs to be face up. It needs to be in this card's column, and you need to be able to place a counter on it as well. The counterpart, let's check this card. It should have it. We also need this. Probably burning counter. I'm going to use a counter probably to test, and I'm gonna change it later. Speaking of which, it needs the category. I'm gonna add it in a minute. Okay, so you don't need to check that you can place a counter on it. Okay. Okay. Set category. Category counter. So yeah, we need to check that it is in this card's column. So let's see. There's a function to get all the cards in the column. In the cards column. This one. Get column group. So the get handler is going to be Aeropixie itself, and get column group is returns all the cards in the same column as as Aeropixie. So it needs to be face up. We're only going to be checking monster zones, so that's fine. We don't check if there's a monster. It needs to be face up, and G is contains. I think this was used here. Let me see. Yeah, okay. G contains C. So if C is not C, which C is the card that the filter is checking at this particular time, if C is not face up and is not in the same column as Aeropixie, then it false. And then here we're going to be doing the checks for the zones. If blah blah, and we're going to return true if there's a correct set of zones. Good. So there needs to be a main master zone you control that's empty, and the opponent also needs to have a main master zone that's empty, and they need to be in the same column. That's pretty much, because this moves itself, and if you do, you move the opponent's master to their main master zone in the same column after this one moves. Okay, so actually we're going to do a 4 first. 4 I think that's the syntax for it, I hope. Okay, here we're going to use this function. Where is it? Like check location or something? Check location. Yeah, this one. Which checks if the specified zone is available. TP location M zone, and then sequence is going to be I. So the way the sequence works is there's 5 master zones, main master zones. This one is sequence 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And on the opponent's side, from their perspective, it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if we're checking, so if this zone is empty on my end, we need to check that this zone is empty on the opponent's end. That's the tricky part here. So if I is going to be the sequence 0 to 4 is empty, and the equivalent on the opponent's side, which is going to be 4 minus I, is also empty, then that means we got a zone that works. So we're going to return true, and then just end. At this point, we only because we're just checking for it's basically just the activation check. As long as there's at least one zone, one pair of zones that are valid, then the card is a valid target. Select target. Move this guy, you can show to another, and if you do move the opponents, I need to add. I need to also check the opponent zones here. What else? To perform the same checks for the card for Aeropixie herself, pretty much. Move this card you control, so it needs to be. Oh boy. There's one long if, but I'm gonna fix it up a bit, but we gotta do this, unfortunately. So immunity checks and zone checks. Okay. Okie dokie, so now we need to, okay, before we select the zone, we need to figure out at this point during resolution which zones are valid to be selected. We're going to do something similar to this. So we're going to have a variable called zone, which is going to store all the correct zones, so to speak. So we're doing the same loop, and then if we find a pair of zones that are correct, we need to basically add the zone to the zone we found to this. So this is getting into a bit confusing territory, but this zone value is going to have to be the magic number, basically, the hex value for the zone, and not the sequence. So in order to do this, we need to raise it to the power, raise 2 to the power of the sequence. This is how you turn the sequence 0, so let's say this zone, to the zone value of this zone. And to do the opposite, we need to do log 2, which we'll be doing later down the script. Okay, so at the end of this loop, I think zone should have all the correct zones, the zones that can be selected, basically. If zone is 0, then return. If there are no zones that are correct, then the effect ends. Okay, and then we need to make the selection. Now I think this returns the zone itself. So this, oh yeah, you see here it does the math log I was talking about. So S zone, like, or cell zone, selected zone. Now let me check the parameters for this. Player count, SO, filter. Okay, so the filter is what we want here. Okay, so player TP selects one zone in the master zone. Yeah, in TP's master zone, and this is the filter. Now the filter here, what it does is you can put zone values here, and it's going to exclude them from the selection. So we need to exclude everything that's not zone. So we're going to do this, which is every zone basically, minus zone. So you can pick any zone you want except the ones that are not zone. And zone are the ones that are valid in our checks from before. So yeah, that's the idea. So you pick the zone, and then we're going to do the move sequence. This hint needs to go here. Now let me see, does move sequence return anything? Like a bool maybe? It's a void, okay. However, we already did the checks for the immunity up here, so it should be fine. So move this card you control to another one, and if you do move upon master, the main master zone discuss column, then place a counter. Okay, so it's gonna be C, not DC. Oops. DC is the target, right? So after we move this, we need to move the opponents to the equivalent zones, which is going to be 4 minus the sequence of this zone. So this math log takes the zone value that we selected and transforms it into the sequence, the zone sequence. And we're doing the 4 minus, which is the same as up here. This one pretty much. Or actually it should be down here, right? Yeah, it's here too. To mirror the sequence 0 zone, our sequence 0 zone is the opponent's sequence 4 zone, pretty much. Okay, so we do the moving, and then we need to add the counter. Break effect is because it says then, so it happens at different timing. And for the counter, let's copy. What's this? This is indigo. I need this card, the PA counter card. Just to copy this real quick. Now we don't have rulings yet, so we don't know if it still moves the monster if it's face down. I think it would still move it, but of course it wouldn't place a counter on the face down monster. So I'm gonna add this check there. Add a counter. Again, I'm using A counters just to test, because I'm gonna fix the counter stuff later. Then place, blah blah. Okay. Okay, so let's hope that this works. Okay, let's try it. We need something to give to the opponent easily. Well, for starters, we'll test a simple scenario with just these two. Okay, I made a typo somewhere. Line 41. Okay, this needs an OR. Wait, I forgot the then. No. Not otade or notade, otade. Otade. Okay. I didn't save it, I guess. So let's give this to the opponent. Okay. Oh, right. I forgot to pass. I need to pass parameters here. I need E, I need TP. Right, we need E, and we need TP as well. Yeah. Okay. ETP. ETP. Okay. Let's see. Right. This needs to be the opponent's monster zone. Okay. There was no target this time, so it fizzled. It errored out in the operation. So I had it targeting your own field accidentally. Okay, target. Okay, something is messing up in the resolution, unfortunately. Well, let's make sure that it doesn't enter here for no reason. Okay, it does enter here for some reason. Maybe the or not. Ah, wait, this needs to be the opposite. Nice. So yeah, all 4 zones are valid, and we can only select our zones. And if I move it here, it moves there. And you place the character. Good. So now if I change up the zones a bit, so I put this here. Now this zone is not valid, but these 3 are. So let's see. Okay, so it doesn't detect it here for some reason. Oh wait, it's not in the same column, right? Right, what am I saying? Because I know, yeah, it needs to be in the scouts column. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that part actually. What we need is more other monsters to fill up the zones. So Jester, Confit. And I'm gonna put in opponent as well to speed this up. So if I put, so of course now this is not a valid column basically. So we should not be able to pick, okay, why can't we pick this now? Now this is a small mistake. Something's wrong in the check. Shit. This needs to be 1 minus the B. Is it correct up here? It's not correct up here either. Okay. Let's go again. So I can pick any of these 4. And now if I summon Mr. Conflict here, I should be able to pick these 3. Nice, very nice. Okay. And now we'll try, I didn't have to restart actually, but we'll try the opponent having stuff. So now I should be able to pick only these 2 zones. This and this. Yep. And then if I summon this here, there's only this zone. Oh fuck, this has an effect. Shit. Right, so now there's only this zone that's appropriate. Okay. This is going to trigger now. So now this is the only appropriate zone, but the moment I do this, it's not appropriate anymore, so I cannot use the effect. Okay. One last thing I want to try is with an extra deck monster, with a monster in the extra monster zone. So, then quick, but there we go. Since this is level 1. So I'm gonna summon this here. Place this here just because. And then summon a Rebo over here. Then I should be able to pick these 3 zones. There we go, nice. Oop. Moves there, place the counter. All good. Okay. Now we need to do the right, there's another effect here. Monsters lose 200 attack and defense for each burning counter on them. It should be pretty easy. Burden of the Mighty. We can move the Mighty. Should be able to take this and alter it a little bit. Decrease attack / def. Location M zone. It affects both players' fields, and then pile determines how much attack and defense they lose. Oops. And it's going to be get counter. Oops, not this one. Not this script. This script. The amount of counters it has times minus 200. We need the defensive one as well. So E3 is going to be a clone or a copy basically of E2. And we're going to register it, and the only thing we're going to change is this. It's going to be update defense instead. Okay, so yeah, so it's losing 200, and then focus again. It's losing 400, looks nice. So the interesting thing here is that now I can pick this, yeah. Stuff moves around. This has 3 counters, so it's 600 and another 600, so 1200, which is correct. Okay. Let's take a last quick look at the script, but I think it's fine at the moment. I noticed something. We need to pass these over here. For the target redirect effects. Okay, so yeah, it needs to be a monster, the opponent controls, and the filter needs to return true. So let's see, we need to have a zone. The opponent needs to have a zone, main monster zone. There needs to be a target. And then this gets the group, but the cards that are in the same column as this card, Aeropixie herself. And then it needs to be face up, it needs to be part of this group. Otherwise, return false. And then for you go through all the sequences and check if there's a pair of zones, of master zones, that fit, that they're both empty, and if so, it's untrue. Select your target, and in the operation, this if is kind of ugly, but it's a necessary evil, I think. We have the zone parameter, go through the sequences again, and if we find a pair sequences of zones on my side and the opponent's side, we add the zone value of that sequence into the zone parameter and a parameter variable. If there's no zones, return. Select, and then you select which zone you're going to move stuff into, or you're going to move this card to. So we're telling the player pick a zone, pick a master zone, except everything that's not the correct zones. So we exclude everything else, so you can only pick from the appropriate zones, and then you move Aeropixie to the selected zone. So to transform the zone value into the sequence, and move sequence is the zone sequence, so the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to do math log 2, and then you move the target to 4 minus the sequence, so it's the mirrored one, the mirrored zone, and then place the counter on it. Place 1 per counter. I'm gonna change the counters. I think it's okay. Then it decreases attack and defense based on how many burning counters are on monster. Okay, I think the card is done. This is pretty extensively. I can't think of another scenario at the moment to try out of it. Right, so yeah, so I'm gonna go, I think I'm gonna end the stream now. I'm gonna quickly change the counter, I think. So it's the burning counter. I just don't remember what value it should have, so I said I'll just use 8 counters to make it easier to test. Anyway, I'll fix that, upload the cards, and then go to sleep. Right, so thanks for watching. This took about an hour. I mean, we had 2 cards. This was relatively simple, just had a couple of checks here and there. This was pretty complex, but I had already thought of the implementation before the stream, like how to do it, and I talked about it a bit with Edo as well, and he pretty much came to the same conclusion to do it this way. So yeah, it was more of a matter of making sure that the implementation I thought of actually works, and actually typing it out. And yeah, I mean, I had a couple of small things, like I forgot to inverse the player here and stuff like that, but okay. Yeah, I'm glad this worked out really quickly, because the zone stuff is really stupid and kind of complex. So if it didn't work, it would have taken me another hour or something to figure it out. But anyway, it's done. So thanks for watching. Bye bye. Peace. Ba-da-da-da.